Valley Club, as of me recording this, over 70 teams in Marvel Strike Force. Some of them are great that you want to put all your resources in and build to the moon. Some are okay that you want to invest a little bit in, and some are total trash that you want to avoid like the plague. In this video, we're going to rank every single team in Marvel Strike Force so you know which ones to build and which one to avoid. And if you're ready for all that, Valley Club, you know what to do. Find that like button and let's go smash it. And welcome back to the ValleyFlyin channel. I'm ValleyFlyin. I hope you're having a great day, and I hope you're ready for a strong 2025. And I hope this video helps you because we're going to rank every single team in Marvel Strike Force, the good ones, the bad ones, the in-between ones. And if you get some value from this video, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and ring that notification bell for even more Marvel Strike Force content on a normal non-holiday week. At least 5 Marvel Strike Force videos helping you with all sorts of things in the game. And with that said, let's jump into the game because we are ranking every team in the game, but there are some characters that are just so good. They're kind of teams on their own. These mythic characters, Odin, Mephisto, Apocalypse, Super Skrull, are such great characters right now. They could kind of make teams on their own, but they're not going to be on this list. Also, if you need a team to unlock a legendary character or mythic character, that's not going to be taken into account on this list. Also, it's just going to be their value in the game right now. Let's jump over to the list. And before we start ranking each of these teams, I do want to talk about what each of these tiers are. So the best of the best, these are the best teams in the game right now. And to qualify for this list, I think a team needs to be valuable in at least 3 game modes. So maybe Arena, Crucible, War, maybe the Raids and Arena and Crucible, maybe Battle World and War and Arena or something like that. So if they're valuable in at least 3 game modes, they are going to qualify for this best of the best ranking. Now, super important, they're going to be good at least 2 game modes. So maybe a Crucible and War, or the Raids and War, or the Raids and Battle World, or whatever. But at least 2 game modes are going to be very, very good. And as far as it's good to have, well, you're going to be valuable or one of the best teams in at least 1 game mode. So maybe you're a very strong War team. This is where you might end up. Maybe you're one of the best teams in Battle World. This is where you might end up. So very dominant in at least 1 game mode. They may be valuable in 2 game modes, but at least 1 game mode to be on this good to have list. Now, extremely niche. You're going to have some value in at least 1 game mode, and maybe you're not going to use them every single match. Let's say in every single war or every single Crucible battle, but every now and then, if you see a certain defense that you want to take out, this team is going to give you a lot of value. And trash, most of the teams in the game are going to fall into this category. They just really don't have a lot of value in the game right now. So with all that said, let's start ranking all of these teams, starting with the A-Force. Now, Absolute A-Force is one of the newer War teams, but the original A-Force with Spider-Woman, Nico, not a very good team at this point, pretty trashy right now. The Absolute A-Force, they are one of the best War teams in the game right now, if not the best War team. Kahori, Miss Marvel Classic, Medusa also have value in other game modes as well. So I think right now they're a super important team. Very valuable in at least 2 game modes, War, and then some hybrid teams in Crucible, maybe Battle World, but yes, very, very good team. AIM is a trash team. Alpha Flight is a very, very good team. They're valuable in the Spotlight raids. They will be used in the upcoming Spotlight raids, and they're a great War defense team. And once in a while, you'll see other characters like North Star or Guardian on some hybrid teams, but Alpha Flight, very, very important team right now. Annihilators are the arena meta right now. They're valuable in Crucible, value in War. If you have any tower modes, they're going to be valuable in there as well. So Annihilators are one of the best teams in the game right now. The Asgardians are pretty trashy at this point. The Astonishing X-Men, pretty trashy at this point. The Astral team is probably the best team for Battle World. Unfortunately, from the 2025 preview, it looks like it's coming back at the end of January. So they're going to be good in 2 game modes once Battle World is here. But right now, they're good in War. They're okay in Cosmic Crucible. I see them on defense a lot, but they're beaten pretty easily. So let's say at this point, they're a super important team. Bifrost is not very important anymore. They're pretty trashy, actually. Val does have some use, but the full Bifrost team is pretty trashy. Bionic Avengers, pretty trashy. Black Order is not a very good team anymore. Neither is the Brotherhood. And Cabal, one of the best teams for Cosmic Crucible right now. They're good in War, and that is why they have a super important ranking. You know, one of the best Cosmic Crucible teams right now, but only okay in War. The Dark Hunters are pretty trashy. The Darkhold is a good team. They're a very older team. They were the arena meta before, and at this point, I would say they still have some value. But they're losing value, and they may end up in trash next time we do this ranking. The Death Seed team, I say, is still an extremely niche team. I still see Death Seed on defense in war, pretty much every war, and Death Seed is a great counter to Death Seed. So although they're not as valuable as they once were, they do have a niche value for taking out a Death Seed and mirror match in war. Eternals, they're a very old team, but I'd say even at this point, they're super important. They did lose a lot of value with the introduction of Ares and the updated stats for a lot of these newer characters. But the Eternals, I still use them in Cosmic Crucible, still use them in war. So I would say at this point, they're still a very important team. Super, super important. Fantastic Four as a whole is a trashy team. Visible Woman got moved off to another team. Mr. Fantastic got moved off to another team, but the Fantastic Four as a whole, not very good. The Gamma team, I still use them in war, and they're great for taking out like a Spider Society or an Orcus team, but outside of war, you're not really gonna use them too much. So I would say Gamma is a niche team. They are a good war team. I wouldn't put them in top 5 meta war teams at this point though. Guardians are pretty trashy at this point. Do not build them. The Hand is also a trash team. Don't build them either. Heroes for Hire, same scenario. Hive Mind, you need them for the current version of the Orcus raids right now. However, it looks like they are going to be one of the first teams replaced as we get a new version of the Orcus raid. So at this point, I would say the Hive Mind is a super important team. But once we get a new raid and something replaces them, then they're going to lose a lot of value. Hydra is a trash team. Illuminati is a very, very good team. You could argue they are one of the best, if not the best, Cosmic Crucible teams. They're good in war as well, but outside of that, I don't really use the Illuminati, so they're super, super important. Crucible War is where they're going to shine. The Immortal X-Men, this is the new Cosmic Crucible team, and Storm is going to be on that team. Jean Grey is going to be on the team. Beast, Polaris, Cable is going to be on the team. They're going to be very, very good in Cosmic Crucible, but at this point, I would just say they're good to have. I think more testing needs to be done to see how they do in war, and maybe if they have some value in Battle World once it returns. But the Immortal X-Men, not the Uncanny Avengers, which has a lot of the elements of the Immortal X-Men, they're a good team to have. Infestation, they are still a war defensive team, and if you go into the wrong team, they could annihilate you, but there's more and more counters to Infestation. They're an extremely niche team at this point. We have the Infinity Watch, which I used this morning in Cosmic Crucible. They're great for taking out an Illuminati with Odin to try to take out Captain Britain. Now, you do need to bring in someone like Guardian to give a little more damage, but Infinity Watch still has some niche uses in the game right now. The Inhumans are a trash team at this point. Black Bolt got moved off to a different team, but the Inhumans are pretty trash at this point. So are the Invaders. This is probably the first team that I used to sack a team. So their use is pretty much just a sacrifice team at this point. Nowhere, they are still used to take out some teams in war. They were one of the best war teams, but at this point, I would say Nowhere is an extremely niche team right now for war. The Kree is total trash. The Marauders are total trash. Masters of Evil, I still use Kang and Titania all the time, pairing them with Cabal, but as far as a full Masters of Evil team, I'd say at this point, they're extremely niche. I don't really use Moonstone, Ultimus, or Absorbing Man in that combo too much anymore. Mercenaries are pretty trashy. As far as the Mercs for money, they're one of the best war teams, if not the best war team right now. Also very, very good in war. Use a lot of the hybrid teams of Mercs for money to beat the Annihilators, and they were valuable in Battle World. We don't have Battle World at the moment. We're gonna have it in about a month from now. So at that point, I think they will be best. But right now, since we don't have Battle World, I think they're a super important team. But for the future, once Battle World turns, ranking them in the best of the best for that. And moving on to the Mighty Avengers. This is the Uncanny Avengers element that's gonna break off the war. We have the Immortal X-Men breaking off into Cosmic Crucible. The Mighty Avengers are breaking off to war, and I think they're going to be a very good war team. Based on what we saw from Underworld, which had 4 reworks and 1 main character, and Infestation, 4 reworks, 1 character, they're going to be good, but probably not the top of the meta as they are introduced to the game. So good to have team at this point, but maybe expanding the value like the Immortal X-Men as further testing is done. Military Skill, unfortunately, is a trash team. New Avengers are a very, very good team in war, but not really used outside of that. So I would say at this point, New Avengers are extremely niche team. They don't counter everything. They're not top 5 war teams. So I say at this point, extremely niche. The New Warriors are one of the best Cosmic Crucibles teams still, even after all this time. Still used them this morning to counter an X-Men team in Cosmic Crucible. So I'll say they're a good team to have at this point. The Night Stalkers, they're valuable in the raids. They're valuable in war. They're valuable in Crucible. They're one of the best teams in the game right now. The Orcas, same thing. Valuable in the raids. They're valuable in war. Valuable in Crucible. One of the best teams to have in the game right now. Out of Time team is still a very strong team in war. And Black Knight can be used in multiple hybrid teams, but a full Out of Time team, pretty much just a war team right now. Don't see them in a lot of other game modes, but they're very good in war. So Out of Time team is a good team to have. Pegasus, unfortunately, is a pretty trashy team. I still see them in war defense, but they're beaten pretty easily by a bunch of things. Their time to shine in the raids is over. Same thing with Power Armor. Their time to shine in war is over. Pimtech is a trash team. Ghost is going to be getting a rework as member of the Thunderbolts, but full Pimtech is trash. Same with the Ravagers. Rebirth is pretty much there as well. You could still use Captain America and Captain Carter on the Out of Time team, but full Rebirth, they're pretty much a sacrifice team at this point. Secret Defenders are pretty trashy. Now, the Secret Defenders are an old arena team. I'm still using Black Cat, still using Miss Marvel Hardlight, and still using Ghost Rider Robbie. Once in a while, still using Photon, but Doctor Strange did get moved to the Astral team. So Secret Defenders, and I'm talking about the 3-piece at this point, they are a super important team. Still very good in Crucible, still very good in war. Shadowlands is utter trash at this point. Shield is utter trash. The Sinister Six, we have a couple different versions of the team. We have the Superior Six that's mainly for Cosmic Crucible, and all the members of the Superior Six are also on the Sinister Six. But when I'm using the Sinister Six, that's more of a war team for me. So I would say the Sinister Six, the original Sinister Six, is a good team to have. They're still very, very good in war with all their reworks. Spider Society, great in the raids, great in Crucible, and great in war as well. Although they are losing some value in war, I'd still say at this point, they're still one of the best teams. The Superior Six is all the newer members of the Sinister Six, so they're gonna do everything that the Sinister Six can do, but a little bit more, and they have a little bit more value in Cosmic Crucible. I'm gonna rate them as a super important team because they're gonna be valuable in war and Crucible, whereas the Sinister Six, just pretty much valuable in war. Supernatural is pretty crappy at this point. The Symbiotes are pretty crappy at this point. The Tangled Web team does still kick butt in war, still kicks butt in Cosmic Crucible, so they are a super important team. Now, the Uncanny Avengers, this one is gonna be a Spotlight Raid team, and it looks like they're gonna be valuable in war and Crucible based on their other elements of the Immortal X-Men and the Mighty Avengers. But because you're using the elements of Immortal X-Men and Crucible, the Mighty Avengers in war, I would say you're not gonna really use the full Uncanny Avengers everywhere. So I would say at this point, they are a super important team. However, if we take the elements of the Mighty Avengers and Immortal X-Men, then they are gonna be one of the best teams in my opinion. All right, the Uncanny X-Men, they are a trash team at this point. The Underworld team, they still do have a little bit of value in war. I was almost gonna put them in trash, but I'll put them extremely niche right now. They're probably gonna be trash very, very soon. Now, the Undying team, they're very good. One of the best war teams right now, especially with the introduction of Zombie Scarlet Witch, making that team even better. They're gonna have some value in other tower modes, some pocket dimensions, things like that, but they are a very good team to have, but don't really have a lot of Crucible value or arena value or raid value, so they're a very good team to have. The Unlimited X-Men, they're an older team. This was what Rogue was based on, the original Cosmic Crucible team. They are trash at this point. Rogue still gets moved onto the Extreme X-Men, but the Unlimited X-Men, at this point, they're pretty trashy. The Wakandans are a trash team at this point. So are the Wave 1 Avengers. Weapon X did get kind of a revitalization. We got reworks to Wolverine. We got X-23 with that tag as well. So they are able to take out a lot more in war. And I say at this point, they are extremely niche. The Web Warriors are a trashy team at this point. X-Force as a whole, not a very good team. We did get Deadpool reworked. Cable got reworked, but X-Force as a whole, not very good. Extreme X-Men are still a very important team right now, and they're going to give you value in the raids. They're going to give you value in the Crucible and in War. So I think at this point, they are a super important team. However, like the Hive Mind, they're one of the first teams that's going to be replaced as we get new raids, so be careful how much you invest in this team. The last team, the Young Avengers, they had a lot of staying power for a while, but they haven't been relevant in the meta for a while. Some characters like Echo get moved on to hybrid teams just because she stops assists, but Young Avengers as a whole, not a very good team at this point. Valley Club, that is the tier list. Let me know if any teams you feel should be moved up or moved down. Hopefully you get some value from this video, and if you did, leave it a like. And if you want to see my ranking of every character in Marvel Strike Force, check out the video I did up there, and have a great rest of your day. Have a great 2025, guys. Hulk fist bump. ValleyFlyin out.